The leash felt cold against my palm, still wet from the grass. I kept winding it slowly around my fingers, one loop at a time, like I was braiding a thought I wasn't ready to say out loud. Across from me, two patrol officers stood under the edge of our carport roof, shoulders hunched against the rain. Their radios crackled faintly between gusts. Inside, my wife was crying into a towel she hadn't even unfolded all the way. And outside, two neighbors I've waved to for 10 years wouldn't meet my eyes. That's the part that got me. Not the blood, not the vet bill. The silence. I guess I should start with Jasper, my dog. He's a 3-year-old Beagle Lab mix, all floppy ears and weird, almost human eyes that make him look like he's judging your every life choice. I adopted him the summer after my dad died, not because I was lonely, though I probably was, but because I couldn't stand coming home to a house that didn't need me. Jasper needed me. Still does, but I couldn't protect him. This whole mess started 3 weeks ago. That morning had been normal, if a little foggy. I remember the dew on the mailbox, how my sneakers squeaked on the driveway. Jasper was trotting ahead, nose twitching like he was reading some invisible novel written in smells. We always take the same route. Down Sycamore, cut left by the empty lot where the kids play soccer, loop around the back cul-de-sac, and then home. Takes about 40 minutes, just enough to clear my head before logging in for remote work. But we didn't even make it halfway that day. We were passing by the Hanley's house, 2 doors down from ours, when it happened. Their dog, Rocco, was already barking from behind the slats of their warped wooden fence. That wasn't new. He always went nuts when someone walked by. But this time, it didn't stop. The latch had rotted off. The gate swung open, and suddenly, Rocco wasn't just barking, he was charging. I don't remember dropping the coffee thermos. I remember the sound of Jasper's bark changing, higher, panicked, and then the way his legs kicked out sideways when Rocco hit him. I ran, tried to get between them, yelled, grabbed at collars, limbs, anything. The thing is, Rocco wasn't just playing rough. This wasn't a sniff and growl. It was a full attack. He clamped down on Jasper's shoulder and shook. I heard something pop. I felt it through the leash. It took a garden hose, someone screaming and spraying and waving like a lunatic, for Rocco to let go. I didn't even realize it was Mrs. Hanley until later. She was barefoot in a housecoat, hands trembling, eyes wide like she'd just woken from a nightmare she couldn't understand. I didn't say anything to her then. I couldn't. I just picked Jasper up. He was whimpering, trying to lick his own wound, and I ran. We spent 6 hours at the emergency vet. 3 puncture wounds, fractured scapula, torn muscle, $2,400. The vet asked if I wanted to file a report. I hesitated. Not because I didn't think I should, but because of what it meant. See, I've lived in this neighborhood 10 years. My wife and I moved here after we got married. Bought one of those squat brick ranch-style homes with a half-dead tree out front and a doorbell that hasn't worked since 2016. We host Halloween every year. I help shovel driveways when it snows. I even loaned Kevin Hanley my power washer last spring when his broke. Never asked for it back. That night, when we got back from the vet, I sat in the driveway with the hazard lights on, just staring at the front door. I knew once I walked in, I had to make a choice. Report it or let it slide. My wife, Katie, wasn't subtle about what she wanted. He's dangerous, Alex. That dog could have killed Jasper. What if it was a kid next time? I nodded, but I didn't move. Then she said something that landed harder than I expected. You'd feel worse if it happened to someone else because you stayed quiet. So I called. Not 911, obviously, just animal control. Filed a formal complaint. Asked for it to stay anonymous, even though I knew it probably wouldn't. The next morning, there was a notice taped to the Hanley's door, and that's when it started. At first, it was subtle. No more nods from Mr. Benson when I jogged past his yard. No more half waves from Dee as she pulled out of her driveway. But then it got weirder. I was walking Jasper, slowly now because of his stitched-up leg, when I passed the community bulletin board by the park. Someone had pinned a note there, typed, not handwritten. A neighbor called the city on a family pet. Now a dog might be euthanized. Was it really necessary? No names. But come on. Then came the trash can incident. Someone knocked ours over in the middle of the night. Every damn banana peel and coffee filter spread across our lawn like a guilt parade. Katie said maybe it was the wind. I said maybe it wasn't. 2 days later, we found dog poop smeared across our front doormat. I tried to talk to the Hanleys. I did. I brought over a bag of groceries, apology or peace offering, I don't even know, and knocked. Mr. Hanley opened the door halfway, his jaw clenched tight, like he was chewing on a nail. "Don't bother," he said. "We know it was you." "Look, I didn't want to cause trouble," I said. "But Jasper needed stitches. I thought—" "You thought you were better than us," he snapped. "Thought you'd just call the city and get rid of our dog like he's trash." I didn't even know what to say. There wasn't a script for this. Then his wife's voice floated from somewhere inside the house. Ask him how he'd feel if someone tried to take his family. Later that week, someone keyed my car. It was parked right out front, in the same spot it always is. A long, angry line down the passenger side door, deep enough to catch your fingernail. No witnesses. No cameras. The police took a report, said they'd ask around, but you could tell from the way they jotted it down that nothing was going to come of it. Katie kept saying we should let it go. Maybe stay inside more. Keep Jasper out back instead of walking the block. But that felt wrong. Like we were the ones who did something shady. I didn't hurt anyone. I just reported what happened. But that doesn't seem to matter anymore. The worst part? It's not the vandalism, or the whispers, or even the half-hearted, you know how it is from people who used to invite us to barbecues. It's Jasper. He doesn't walk the same way now, flinches when he hears barking, hangs back when we pass the Hanley's fence. His tail doesn't wag like it used to. He's still healing, physically, sure, but something else, too. Something I can't fix with treats or time. And I can't stop wondering if it's my fault. Not for what happened to him, but for everything that came after. It was the flyers that broke me. I'd just gotten back from Jasper's follow-up appointment, another $180 for a checkup and some anti-anxiety meds, when Katie called me outside. They were taped to the stop sign at the entrance to the cul-de-sac, printed on bright yellow paper, like a garage sale notice. Beware, a neighbor who calls cops before conversations. Below it, someone had pasted a blurry photo of our front yard. You could barely make out Jasper in the background, limping across the lawn. Another flyer was stapled to the community corkboard by the mailboxes. Another to the back of the neighborhood Little Free Library. Who does that? Who prints flyers? The next week felt like we'd fallen into a TV show. Not a good one. One of those bleak suburban satire types where the lawns are all cut, but the people are rotting underneath. The whispers escalated into cold shoulders. Then came the passive-aggressive notes. Someone stuck a sticky note on my truck windshield while I was in the grocery store parking lot. "Try empathy next time, you arrogant prick." It wasn't signed. Of course it wasn't. Even at Jasper's vet, someone made a face when I gave my address. Just a flash of recognition, then discomfort, like I'd tracked something in on my shoes and didn't know it. I started changing our walking route, cut through alleys, avoided the main loop, walked only early in the morning or late at night. But it didn't matter. The rot was already in the walls. We got uninvited to a block party. Not directly. No one had the balls to say it to my face. But the email thread that usually included us just didn't this time. Katie noticed first. She's the one who keeps up with the HOA mailing list. "That's weird," she said, pointing at her phone. "Angela usually puts you on the grill duty. Your name's not here." I pretended to shrug. Oh well. But I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I replayed everything over and over again in my head. From the moment Rocco charged to the moment I dialed animal control, trying to figure out the exact second where I crossed the invisible line. A few nights later, I saw Kevin Hanley again. He was unloading something from his truck bed in the driveway. Boxes, maybe tools, I don't know. I hesitated before walking over. My brain screamed not to, but my legs had other ideas. Hey, I said. He didn't look up. I'm not trying to fight, I added. I just want things to go back to normal. That got him. He turned, box still in his arms. His face was sweaty, flushed, like he'd just finished yelling at someone inside the house. Normal, he said. You think we can ever go back to normal after what you did? I didn't want him taken away, I said, softer now. But Jasper could have died, man. He still might need surgery. He shook his head. You could have knocked. One conversation. One. Instead, you called people with guns. On my dog. On us. I didn't call the cops, I said. I filed a report, that's it. That's not how it felt to us, he said. Then he dropped the box hard on the ground. You want things to go back to normal? Move. I didn't tell Katie that part. Not right away. She already felt like we were being squeezed out. She'd started suggesting maybe we look at listings elsewhere. Even though we just renovated the kitchen last year. Even though this was the house we brought Jasper home to. Even though we knew every goddamn crack in every sidewalk for 6 blocks. But I got it. I really did. It's not just about the dog. It's about what we became to this place. The tattletales, the snitches, the ones who brought the government into a neighbor's home. Which is ironic, because I grew up in a rougher neighborhood, one where people begged someone to intervene when animals got violent, where people wished someone had called instead of keeping it in the family. And yet, here I was, in a good zip code, surrounded by polite fences and bonus rooms, and I was the pariah for protecting my dog. It got worse before it got worse. There's no other way to say it. A week after that last conversation with Kevin, someone called the city on us. The code compliance guy showed up at 8:13 in the morning. I was still in my robe, coffee in hand. Mr. Barlow? He asked. We had an anonymous report about some unpermitted exterior lighting and possibly an illegal shed. It took me a second to understand. Then I laughed. Actually laughed. Because of course. The lights? String bulbs we'd wrapped around our back patio. Nothing fancy. The shed? A 4x6 resin garden box we used for lawn tools. Not even taller than my shoulders. Still, I had to take them both down while the investigation was pending. That's what the man said. He looked uncomfortable, like he didn't want to be there. I didn't blame him. I just nodded. Jasper sat by the screen door, watching me unscrew the bulbs one by one. He looked confused, like he thought I was punishing the house for something it didn't do. The following Saturday was Jasper's first real walk since the incident. We timed it early, before the sun got too high, before the sidewalk turned into a skillet. I packed a bottle of water and a small bag of turkey treats. He still limped slightly, but not as much. The fur was growing back over the stitches. He looked almost normal. We didn't take the old loop, not even close. Instead, we went behind the grocery store, down a quiet trail that follows the back of the elementary school. It's not scenic. There's a chain-link fence, and the grass grows too tall in places. But no one else was there. That was the point. Until I saw him. At first, I thought he was just another dog owner. A guy in a faded hoodie and ball cap, walking a small shepherd mix. But when he passed me, he muttered something under his breath. I couldn't make it out. Excuse me? I said. He stopped, turned halfway. You happy now? He said. The Hanleys have to rehome their dog. I blinked. I didn't know that. Well, now you do. He didn't wait for a reply, just kept walking. The dog at his side barely glanced at me. Later that day, I got an email from Animal Control. The official decision: Rocco had been declared a potentially dangerous animal. He wasn't being put down, but he couldn't stay in a residential area unless the Hanleys built a reinforced fence and kept him muzzled in public. They couldn't afford it, so they were rehoming him, which probably meant surrendering to a rescue. Or worse. I felt sick. Not because I wanted it to happen, but because I didn't. I just wanted my dog to be safe, that's all. I didn't mean for anyone to lose their pet, or for a family to feel like they were being evicted by neighborhood pressure. I didn't mean for any of this. Katie saw me reading the email. She sat down beside me on the couch. "You did the right thing," she said. "Then why does it feel so wrong?" She didn't have an answer for that. Neither do I. The neighborhood Facebook group lit up that night. Someone posted a long rant about suburban snitches ruining childhood pets. Others chimed in, vague, coded comments about people who think they're better than everyone else and forget this isn't Beverly Hills. Katie deleted her account. I stayed up and read every single comment. Every single one. Then, 2 days ago, something happened I didn't expect. I was walking Jasper again, same quiet trail, when a woman stopped me. Mid-30s, ponytail, jogging stroller. "I saw what happened," she said. "With the other dog. That wasn't your fault." I blinked. "You were there?" "No, but my husband's a vet tech. We heard about it. Rocco's had other incidents. This wasn't the first." My chest tightened. "They just never reported it," she added. "They didn't want trouble." I nodded, unsure what to say. Then she reached down and scratched Jasper behind the ears. "I'm glad you spoke up," she said. "Someone had to." And then she jogged away. That night, I didn't sleep. Again. But not because of guilt this time. Because I finally let myself ask a different question. What if I hadn't called? What if Jasper had been a toddler? What if next time someone else didn't make it to the hose fast enough? The silence this neighborhood wanted. Maybe that was the real threat all along. The city sent a survey in the mail last Monday. Community climate feedback, it said across the top in block letters, like they were measuring for rain, not resentment. It came with a prepaid envelope and a note from the local council rep. Something about fostering civic unity. Katie tossed it on the kitchen counter like junk mail, but I held on to it because the word climate felt right. Not the weather kind, the kind you feel under your skin when someone avoids your eyes at the mailbox, when your lawn gets skipped on the neighborhood leaf blower co-op route, when you realize you can't remember the last time someone rang your bell without a clipboard or complaint. That kind of climate. And it was getting colder by the day. By midweek, Katie had started taking Jasper out instead of me. "I don't mind," she said. "Besides, he behaves better with me." But we both knew that wasn't the reason. It was the same reason she started doing the grocery pickup instead of walking the aisles. Why she swapped the cheery porch wreath for something neutral. Why she no longer waved at the Halberts when they sat out smoking on their front stoop. Self-preservation. I didn't argue, but I noticed she walked him with earbuds in now. And she avoided certain routes. Even Jasper seemed to feel it. He'd glance back at her more often. His tail wagged less. That old beagle curiosity in his gait was dimming into something more cautious. Like he'd started watching the street the way we did. Like he understood what it meant to be marked. The day the fence went up, I almost cried. Not ours. The Hanleys. They replaced the old, sagging wooden one with a new 6-foot vinyl model. White, smooth, completely solid. No slats, no gaps, no view in or out. It ran the full length of their yard, right up to the sidewalk. Felt more like a wall than a fence. It cast long shadows across the street in the afternoons, splitting the road like a line in the sand. I stood across from it that evening, Jasper at my side, leash loose in my hand, just looking at it. A door slammed behind me. I turned. Dee. One of the few who still pretended we didn't exist. She was carrying a casserole dish to her car, glanced at me, then at the fence, then back. I liked the old one. Better, she said. At least it had character. Then she drove off. I stood there a few minutes longer. Just me, the dog, and the new wall. I found the chalk message the next morning. It was on our sidewalk right in front of the driveway. Pet murderer. All caps. Harsh strokes. Written in that thick kindergarten-style sidewalk chalk every kid seems to own. Katie found it first. She called for me without raising her voice, like she didn't want to wake the neighborhood. I came out half expecting something else, maybe trash again, or another flyer. But no, just that one phrase. She had a bucket of water ready before I even got close. "I'll do it," I said. She handed me the sponge without a word. I scrubbed it slowly, watching the letters blur into purple and gray smears, like bruises dissolving. Jasper sat at the edge of the lawn, watching quietly. No note, no initials, no cameras. But we both knew who it was for. That night I wrote a draft of a post for the neighborhood Facebook group. It wasn't angry, just honest. I typed and deleted, typed again, reworded the beginning 4 times. The final version started like this. "Hi, neighbors. I want to say something, even if no one wants to hear it. I didn't file that report out of spite. My dog was attacked. He needed surgery. I did what I thought was right. And I'm sorry if it hurt anyone, but silence would have been worse." I hovered over the post button for a long time. Then I closed the window. Not because I changed my mind, but because I knew it wouldn't matter. People had already decided what kind of person I was, and words weren't going to change that. Katie suggested we take a weekend trip. "Just get away," she said. "We could visit your brother, or that lake cabin we used to rent." I could tell she wasn't just saying it for fun. She was looking for air. Somewhere without whispering hedges and twitching curtains. Somewhere we weren't them. We packed that Friday. Nothing major. Just a couple of bags, food for Jasper, and some takeout on the way out of town. It was supposed to be 3 nights, turned into 1. Because that Saturday morning I got a call. Blocked number. I almost didn't answer. "Is this Alex Barlow?" the voice asked. "Yes," I said. "This is Officer Calhoun with the County Sheriff's Department. We have a report of a possible retaliation vandalism incident at your residence. Do you have a moment to speak?" We drove back in silence. Our side window had been shattered. Not the whole window, just the rear driver's side, glass in the seat, shards on the driveway. The rest of the car untouched. It felt surgical. The officer, Calhoun, was polite, measured. Said the neighbors reported hearing glass at around 2 or 3 a.m., but no one saw anything. No security footage, no camera facing that side of the house, just a broken window and an "I'm sorry this happened" from a man in uniform who smelled faintly like cinnamon gum and bureaucracy. "Could be random," he said, "but if you suspect retaliation, we can flag it internally." I said yes. "Please, flag it." He handed me a case number on a small white card, then he left. That night I sat outside, alone. I brought out a lawn chair, a blanket, a 6-pack. Jasper curled up beside me. It was quiet. Just the wind through the trees and the occasional whir of a passing car. At some point, Kevin Hanley walked past. No dog, just him, hands in jacket pockets. He didn't look at me, didn't nod, but he paused halfway down the sidewalk, like he wanted to say something. Then he kept walking, and I felt nothing. Not anger, not fear, Just a hollow kind of clarity. This street wasn't home anymore. I don't know what's next. We've started looking at listings. Nothing serious, just browsing. Katie keeps tagging me in links on Zillow. Jasper's back leg is healing well. He limps a little less every day. And I'm learning to let go of things I can't fix. Like how people would rather protect the idea of community than the people inside it. Like how doing the right thing doesn't always feel like the right thing. Like how sometimes safety costs more than you thought. But I also know this. I'd still make the call. Even knowing everything that followed. Even knowing what it would cost. Because Jasper is still here. Because silence is its own kind of violence. Because maybe someone else will speak up next time and know they're not alone. The day the for sale sign went up in the Hanley's yard, the whole street shifted, like a pulled thread had finally snapped. Katie was folding laundry when I spotted it. I stood at the window, towel still damp in my hands, watching Kevin hammer the wooden stake into the soil himself. No agent, no flyer box, just a hand-painted sign in bold red, "By owner, call for info." It felt less like a real estate decision and more like a statement, a declaration, a warning. That night, Katie and I sat on the back steps, drinking cheap wine from mismatched mugs, watching the security light flicker on and off above the garage. She didn't say anything for a long time. Neither did I. Just sipped and stared and tried not to name the things sitting between us. Eventually, she broke the silence. "I think I'm angry at them," she said. "For what?" I asked. "Selling?" "No, for making us feel like we're the ones who need to leave." I nodded, staring into my mug. The wine tasted like vinegar. "Yeah." "I like this street," she added. "The porch lights. The way everyone shoveled for the older folks without making a big deal out of it. The way people used to just wave." I looked at her. "Used to?" "Yeah," she said. "Used to." We didn't talk about moving again that week, but something had changed. The Zillow tabs came less frequently. She deleted the Redfin app from her phone. I noticed Jasper sniffing the Hanley's fence again, not cautiously, but with the kind of curiosity he used to have before it all went wrong. Something else was changing too. The silence. It was soft at first, but you could feel the absence. No more flyers, no more chalk messages, no more side glances from Mrs. Pendergrass when she walked her twin Yorkies past our driveway. It was like the heat had drained from the neighborhood argument and left only its bones behind. 3 days after the sign went up, Kevin knocked on our door. Katie answered. I was still in the kitchen scraping dinner plates. Her voice startled me. "Alex, can you come here?" I wiped my hands and walked into the foyer, still holding a dish towel. Kevin stood on the porch, arms crossed, eyes bloodshot. "I wanted to say something, Issa," he said. No hello, no small talk. I nodded, waited. He shifted his weight. "We're selling. Not because of you. Not really. My brother offered me a job down in Tulsa. Better pay. Fresh start. We were already thinking about it before all this." I didn't say anything. Didn't trust myself to. He continued. "But that doesn't mean I handled things right. I got angry. My wife got angrier. We acted like victims. But you were just doing what you had to." I blinked. I didn't want to destroy anything. Just keep my dog safe. He nodded slowly. "I know." A pause. Then, "Rocco got placed with a rescue ranch outside Denton. They say he's adjusting. Has space to run. No kids around. No tight fences." I exhaled. Then something I didn't expect. Kevin offered his hand. I took it. It wasn't a long handshake. Nothing dramatic. Just a quiet, tired thing between two men who had both lost and survived something. "Good luck down there ahead," I said. "You too," he said. The flyer came 2 days later. Different kind this time. Neighborhood Pet Safety Workshop, hosted by Animal Control and Local Vet Office. Let's talk. It had a smiley cartoon dog and paw prints along the border. At the bottom was a line that read, "Sponsored by a local resident who cares." Katie found it in the mailbox and raised her eyebrows. "You?" I shook my head. "Nope." Jasper barked once from the kitchen. We both laughed. It was the first time in weeks that the sound didn't feel forced. The workshop was held at the rec center by the strip mall. Not a big turnout, maybe 15 people. A folding table with flyers about leash laws, dog behavior signs, bite prevention. A nervous-looking vet assistant walked us through basic canine stress signals. A community officer in a rumpled polo talked about how to report safely and when. They never mentioned Rocco, never said my name either, but I saw a few familiar faces from our street. People who hadn't looked me in the eye for a month. This time, they did. Afterward, as we stepped out into the warm dusk, a woman from the next block over tapped my arm. "Your dog okay?" she asked. I nodded. "He's healing." She smiled. "Glad to hear it. That took guts." I didn't correct her. It didn't feel like guts. It felt like barely holding on, but I appreciated the words anyway. A few days later, the Hanley's moving truck came. It was a slow, hot morning, and Kevin waved as they backed into the drive. I waved back. We didn't talk again, but he left something behind. A small box sitting on our porch the next day. No note, just a single dog toy inside. A faded tug rope Jasper used to play with when Rocco was a puppy and the fences were still just fences. I left it in Jasper's toy bin. He sniffed it once, then walked away. Maybe that's enough. The funny thing is, no one threw us a welcome back party. No one suddenly baked a pie or invited us to game night. But the weather started to shift. Mr. Benson waved again on his morning walk. Dee offered Katie extra seedlings for the garden. Someone brought Jasper a treat at the dog park. No grand apology, just little things, like sunlight cracking through closed blinds. And sometimes, that's what survival looks like. We're not moving. Not yet, anyway. The kitchen still creaks in the same place. The back step still sticks. Jasper still circles the same 3 corners before lying down on the rug. It's not perfect. Some neighbors still walk faster when they see us. Some probably always will. But we're still here. And I don't flinch when I walk past the new fence anymore, because I know I didn't start this. I just decided not to stay quiet. 3 months later, the Hanley's house sold. A young couple moved in. Early 30s, no kids, no pets, no minivan. Just a matte black Tesla and a bright red mailbox they installed the second weekend after moving in. Their names are Jordan and Elise. We know because Elise introduced herself while Katie was watering the lawn. "We just moved from Denton," she said. "It's so quiet here, like almost suspiciously quiet." Katie laughed. Not a forced one either. "Give it a few months." Elise tilted her head. "That a warning?" "A compliment," Katie said. Jordan stopped by a week later. We were trimming the hedges. Jasper lay in the grass nearby, panting in the heat, but looking better than he had in months. His fur had grown in where the scars were. His limp was almost gone. "Hey," Jordan said, "just wanted to ask, do y'all know if there's a good vet nearby? We're thinking of getting a dog." I hesitated for a half second, then pointed down the road. "Dr. Medina's office, 5 minutes away. They saved this guy's life." Jordan knelt to scratch Jasper behind the ear. "Looks like he's been through some stuff." "Yeah," I said. "We all have." Not long after, I was back at the grocery store, the same one where someone had once left a passive-aggressive sticky note on my windshield. I hadn't thought about that day in a while, but as I pushed my cart into the parking lot, I saw a familiar face walking toward me. Baseball cap, bearded jaw, sharp eyes. The guy from the trail. The one who'd muttered, "You happy now?" He recognized me too. Our eyes locked for a second, just enough time for tension to bloom. But then, he gave a small, almost imperceptible nod. Not an apology, not quite, just an acknowledgement. And then he walked on. I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. The streets changed, but not in the way people expected. After the Hanleys left, something unspoken reset itself. People stopped pretending the block was perfect. A few more "for sale" signs went up, but they didn't feel like exile, more like transition. One family moved closer to their parents. Another wanted a bigger yard. It felt normal. We stayed. Katie planted wildflowers by the fence. Jasper started greeting the mailman again. And me? I started writing again. Not just this. Other things. Fiction. Essays. Thoughts I'd held in for too long, too afraid they'd be misread or twisted into gossip. Turns out, once you survive being hated, being heard doesn't feel so scary anymore. There's one last thing. Last Sunday, I walked Jasper on the original loop, the same route we used to take before the attack. Same sidewalks, same yards, same smells. I didn't plan to do it. My legs just took me there. When we passed the new vinyl fence, taller than ever, now power washed and pristine, I paused. Jasper stopped too, looked up at me. I unclipped his leash, let him wander a few feet ahead. He sniffed the base of the fence, took his time. Then, without prompting, he trotted back to me, calm, confident. No flinching, no fear. Just my dog, on a walk, under a clear sky. People think justice is about punishment. Sometimes it is, but not always. Sometimes it's quieter than that. Sometimes it's just a man walking the same block again, without guilt, without fear, because he stood up for something that mattered. And sometimes, justice is a scar that healed, even if it still aches when it rains. If this story moved you, subscribe for more real-life confessions and emotional journeys like this one.